The big story that came in last evening, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin reigniting the entire language debate. The DMK chief and the Chief Minister of the state told the Prime Minister when he was in Chennai yesterday, they were on the same stage, and he sent across a message saying, don't impose Hindi, treat both languages equally, Hindi and Tamil. In response, the Prime Minister in his speech lauded Tamil culture, lauded the language also, saying that his government is committed to developing Tamil, which he referred to as an eternal language.
Thousands gathered at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Chennai on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was all set to unveil 11 projects worth over 31,000 crores. Amid the applause and chants, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin reignited the language debate.
As the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu,
without mincing any words, DMK Chief Stalin spoke against any imposition of Hindi.
பழமைக்கும் பழமையாய் புதுமைக்கும் புதுமையாய் உலக செம்மொழிகளில் இன்றளவும் சீரழமை திறத்தோடு உயிர்ப்போடு விளங்கக்கூடிய தமிழை இந்திக்கு இணையான அலுவல் மொழியாகவும் உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில் வழக்காடு மொழியாகவும் அறிவிக்க வேண்டும். இறுதியாக மருத்துவ மாணவர் சேர்க்கைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்பட்டுள்ள தேசிய தகுதி மற்றும் நுழைவுத் தேர்வு நீட் முறையை தமிழ்நாடு அரசு தொடர்ந்து எதிர்த்து வருகிறது.
Prime Minister Modi, who was visiting Tamil Nadu for the first time since DMK came to power, responded by hailing Tamil culture and language.
The Tamil language is eternal and the Tamil culture is global. From Chennai to Canada, from Madurai to Malaysia, from Namakkal to New York, from Salem to South Africa, the occasion of Pongal and Puthandu are marked with great fervor.
செம்மொழிகளில் இன்றளவும்
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's comment on imposition of Hindi did not go down well with the BJP. Tamil Nadu BJP chief K. Annamalai took to Twitter to accuse Stalin of doing petty politics. Annamalai said Prime Minister Modi has expressed his affection for the Tamil language, literature and culture on multiple occasions. He described Stalin's conduct as appalling. With Stalin speaking up against any imposition of Hindi and demanding that Tamil be considered at par with Hindi, the language wars have escalated to a new level. Bureau Report, India Today.
Of late, we've seen a lot of celebrities, a lot of film stars also speaking out on this entire language war. Superstar Kamal Haasan is the latest entrant. Kamal Haasan referred to the word of pan-India movies as a new coinage, saying that this entire debate over language is silly and it's juvenile.
The superstar and the mega star himself, who doesn't need any introduction, he's right here between us. Can we make some noise, everyone, for Kamal Haasan?
The North versus South battle over Bhasha rages on. Superstar Kamal Haasan is the latest actor to wade into the language war, with statements that drew a massive applause from the crowd at a promotional event for his latest movie. Kamal Haasan did not mince words, calling the language debate silly and juvenile. The actor-turned-politician asserted that the strength of the country lies in communication with people in different languages. When the questions turned towards regional versus pan-India movies, Kamal Haasan claimed that the term pan-India was a new coinage. Referring to classics like Mughal-e-Azam and Chemeen, Haasan said these movies were enjoyed across languages, sometimes even without dubbing and subtitles.
While you pan for gold, you pan for new words, coinages. So I think this pan-India is It's always been there. Shantaramji did pan-India films. So we have made pan-India films. What do you call Mughal-e-Azam? It's a pan-India film for me. So it's nothing new. Our country is unique. Unlike America, we are very different. We speak different languages, but we are united. And that's the beauty of this country.
The controversy was triggered by an all-out war between Bollywood star Ajay Devgan and Kannada actor Sudeep that took the internet by storm.
Pan-India, Pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as Pan-India?
Ajay Devgan had said Hindi is, was and will always be India's national language in response to Kannada actor Kicha Sudeep's statement that Hindi was never the national language.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is Pan-India? So because we come from South India, they've started terming us Pan-India, Pan-India, Pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as Pan-India?
Music maestro A.R. Rahman had also launched a staunch counter to Home Minister Amit Shah's Hindi is the connecting language comment. South actors like Mahesh Babu and Siddharth also waded into the controversy with their remark on the language war.
I wasn't saying I wasn't keen to go into that phase. I was always saying that I wouldn't want to do Hindi films. I would always want to do Telugu films. This I've been saying it from a long time. So now I'm very happy that what I've been saying is happening. So I always was in the strong opinion that what my strength is to do a Telugu film. And so the emotion, what I know, is a Telugu full emotion. But today, the emotions are so strong, the films have become so big, that eventually, I think the line has blurred, and it's become Indian cinema. So what I thought is becoming true, and I'm very, very happy with it.
The language war is far from being settled. Bureau Report, India Today.
And India Today's news break on the superstar language war is clearly intensified. Here's a look at some of the reactions that are poured in for the last many weeks from South superstars on this brewing debate.
I love, and I've always liked, Hindi cinema and stuff. I'm open if there's any great offer or if there's any nice film on my way. I'm definitely open to do a nice Hindi film, a multi-language film. I'm open. I genuinely haven't. I just want to do a good film. That's my only thing that I have in my mind.
Yeah, I love Bollywood movies, and Bollywood is blessed with a lot of amazing actors and technicians and filmmakers. So I don't think I have to do a Bollywood movie just for the sake of doing it. I'll do a Bollywood movie if the character demands me. Or else it will look odd if I come and do a character here if it's not suiting me. I don't want to go and act in all the industry. I think I should keep on doing Malayalam movies, and I should be able to take Malayalam movies all over the world.
The priority should not be about working in Bollywood or Tollywood or any other industry. I think priority should be about making great content, because once you make great content, it automatically reaches out to every industry. So you really need not run behind something once you really do a great film. So I think focus should be on that. And someday if there is something coming from Bollywood, which is great, which I feel that, this will be nice, I'll definitely do it.
And let's move on to some political stories of the day. Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's national ambition is now evident. KCR met with former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda. He also met with former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy in Bengaluru on Thursday. After the meeting, KCR said that there will be a change at the national level soon and nobody can stop it, and that sensational news is in order, to quote him. KCR is on a spree of meetings with opposition leaders. He recently only met with Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, with the Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav, with Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwat Mann as well. He met with Devegowda and Kumaraswamy in Bengaluru, even as Prime Minister Modi was in Hyderabad. So there was another event that the Chief Minister chose to miss, of the Prime Minister being in his home state. In fact, Prime Minister Modi, while in Hyderabad, also attacked KCR, saying Parivarwadi party is the biggest enemy of democracy. KCR, sitting in Bengaluru, hit back, saying enough Bhashanbazi and promises, but the situation in the country, in reality, is getting worse. The hijab row, which threw Karnataka campuses into an all-out turmoil and sparked heated protests, is now back in the focus. In a fresh escalation, dozens of Hindu students at the Mangaluru University protested inside the campus, claiming that around 40 Muslim girl students are attending their classes wearing a hijab, and they're saying that this is in violation of the current rule.
The hijab controversy, which threw Karnataka campuses into an all-out turmoil, sparked heated protests, sloganeering, and led to unrelenting legal fights, is back once again. In a fresh escalation over hijab, dozens of Hindu students at Mangaluru University protested inside the campus. They claimed around 40 Muslim women students were attending classes wearing hijab. The protesters boycotted classes and staged a demonstration over violation of the court's hijab ruling, promising to continue their protests till hijab-wearing girls were not made to remove their headscarves as per court order.
ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಆಚೆ ಈಚೆ ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ಅವರು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯ. ಇವರೆಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಅವರ ವಿಷಯವೇ ಕೇಳ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಕೊಡೋದಾಗೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ನ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅವರು. ಅದು ತುಂಬ 2.5 ತಿಂಗಳು ಗ್ಯಾಪ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಈಗ ಈ ವಿಷಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಎದುರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಘಟಕ ಕಾಲೇಜು ಮಡಿಕೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಸರ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬಂತು ಮರುದಿನ ಹೋಗಿ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಾಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ತೆಗಿಸಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಯಾಕೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಅಂತ? ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನ, ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಏನು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ JNU ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಯ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್ಸ್ ಗಳೇ, ನಾನು ಹೆಸರು ಹಿಡಿದು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
उन लोगों ने इस तरह मेंशन किया कि वो हमारे स्टाफ को ना इस यूनिफॉर्म की अलग ही बात समझने लगे, लेकिन पहले ही वो लोग हमारे प्रोस्पेक्टर में मेंशन हुआ है कि जो लोग हिजाब पहनना चाहते हैं वो लोग हमारी यूनिफॉर्म जो है उसी कलर का हिजाब हम यानी स्कार्फ हम पहन सकते हैं.
After sustained campus fights, face-off and a long-drawn legal battle, the court had upheld the primacy of uniform at educational institutions. The nagging controversy has drawn criticism from Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai himself, who said these contentious issues have to be settled as per law and blamed fringe groups for resorting to repeated trouble-mongering.
Nobody can polarize Karnataka. The history speaks for itself. And the highest educated people are there in Karnataka, and we don't intend to polarize. See, there are some fringe elements always trying to overplay certain things, and we've been very well in control with the situation, and we have solved all these issues as per the rule of law.
A war of words has also erupted, with the opposition insisting that Basavaraj Bommai's words would hurt the country's prospects.
Chief Minister in Davos calling for investment. All these issues will hit the investment.
The Karnataka High Court on 15th of May ruled that wearing a hijab was not an essential part of Islam. The court ruled that prescription of a school uniform is a reasonable restriction that is constitutionally permissible.
Students in the Mangaluru University today protested against some of the other students from the other community, saying that they were wearing hijabs in their classrooms. Now the Hindu students allege that some of the Muslim students are wearing hijabs even in the classrooms, and this is in violation of the Supreme Court's order. Now, they've urged the educational institution principal and other lecturers to try and stop and ask the students to not wear hijabs in the classrooms. With British journalist Madhu, this is Karthik for India Today.
A fresh battle bruised between West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and the Governor Jagdeep Dhankar. Didi's aim to replace Dhankar as the Chancellor of all state universities. The West Bengal cabinet is all set to give a nod to the bill in the Assembly. Going all out at the TMC, BJP stated that Mamata Banerjee wants to run an authoritarian regime where nobody can question her actions. Targeting Dhankar, Didi stated that he's more dangerous than a mouthpiece of the BJP. He had earlier alleged that the Mamata government had appointed several vice-chancellors without the Raj Bhavan's consent. In 2020, after vice-chancellors of 20 state-run universities did not attend a virtual meeting. The governors also accused the TMC chief of caging the state's education system in politics. Dhankar and Mamata have been at loggerheads, of course, on various issues since the TMC came back to power. Let's get you international news as well this morning. The war in Ukraine entering the third month now. It's dealt a huge blow to global food supply. Russia and Ukraine, two of the biggest exporters of wheat in the world, are both unable to sell their produce. Here's a report on the difficulties being faced by the farmers as well in these areas.
Over 3 months after Russia stunned the world, invading Ukraine, the war is now mostly limited to east and southeast Ukraine. In other parts of Ukraine, life goes on under the war clouds that threaten to burst any time. Vladimir Putin's war machine has inflicted heavy damage, making lives of people miserable, especially farmers. The war itself has sent food prices skyrocketing across the globe. Ukraine is the fourth largest supplier of wheat to the world.
मैं इस वक्त यूक्रेन के ब्रोवरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के बल्शाय दिमिरका गांव में हूं। इस गांव में काफी बड़ी टैंक बैटल हुई थी युद्ध के दौरान, जब रूसी सैनिक कीव के बिल्कुल मुहाने पे आकर खड़े हो गए थे। यहां देखिए काफी डैमेज हुआ है, बिल्डिंग्स डैमेज हो गई हैं, लगभग तबाह हो गई हैं। ऐसी बहुत सी बिल्डिंग्स यहां पर हैं जो इस तरह से तबाह हो गई थी। और मेरे पीछे जो आप देख रहे हैं, ये गेहूं के खेत हैं। यहाँ मीलों लंबे गेहूं के खेत हैं। यूक्रेन दुनिया का एक बहुत ही बड़ा गेहूं का प्रोड्यूसर है। इस वक्त पूरी दुनिया में अनाज की और गेहूं की बहुत बड़ी कमी हो गई है। अफ्रीका में तो कुछ देशों में यूएन का कहना है कि भूखमरी के हालात पैदा हो गए हैं। यूरोप में और बाकी दुनिया में भी इस वक्त अनाज के और ब्रेड्स के जो भाव हैं वो आसमान छू रहे हैं। इसका एक बड़ा कारण ये है कि जो सबसे बड़े एक्सपोर्टर्स थे गेहूं के, अनाज के, रूस नंबर 2 का एक्सपोर्टर पूरी दुनिया का और यूक्रेन नंबर 4 का, यहां से अनाज इस वक्त एक्सपोर्ट नहीं हो पा रहा है।
Farms in Ukraine are huge in size. At times, they are spread over many kilometers. Many of them are owned by companies which hire people to carry out agricultural activities. Even though the crop is ready to harvest, selling it will be a big problem. Putin's military has imposed a naval blockade around Ukraine.
Right now I am in Dimirka village in Brovary district of Ukraine, and behind me you see the potatoes which have been freshly dug now are being processed and being packed here. These are freshly dug potatoes now, and they are being filled inside these cartons, which will be further transported all over Ukraine, and they'll be transported all over Ukraine in these big lorries. Also right now the wheat crop is ready. There is all onions, and this is a small farmer's village where these things are being packed now and are being made ready to be transported all over Ukraine.
Farmers in Brovary shared their troubles with India Today.
Answering about a month.
We are facing a lot of problems like manpower,
fuel shortage and transportation. This wheat will be ready for harvest in 1 month. Russia left mines in our fields, which is a big problem.
Expenses, diesel, non-availability of manpower, transporировка of product.
Many storehouses in Ukraine are already full with grain from last year. This makes it hard for the Ukrainian government to provide storage space for fresh harvest. The crisis is huge. It is already casting a long shadow on global food availability. Russia, the world's second largest supplier of wheat, is unable to sell its produce freely due to the sanctions imposed by the West. And the Russian blockade means Ukraine can't export its wheat either. While the Ukraine war is now limited to the eastern region, its ripples are being felt across the world. With Rajesh Pawar in Brovary, Ukraine, Bureau Report, India Today.
And that's all we have time for in this edition of First Up. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead and stay with us here on India Today. Over the next few hours, I'll continue getting you all the top stories.